Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing another character file review of Billy Hardcastle. Now, Billy Hardcastle made his first appearance in Last of the Summer Wine in 1999, in the episode where Errol flies and the Secret Scar of Noramati. I believe that's the name. It's quite a long name, so sorry if it wasn't 100% accurate. But yeah, he makes his first appearance in that, and he's sort of there as a kind of Robin Hood person. So he's dressed up as Robin Hood, and he goes on about how he's related to Robin Hood on his mother's side. And Billy Hardcastle, that's the main vibe of his character, is that he believes he's a direct descendant of Robin Hood, so much so that he claims it in about every single episode. There's even an episode of Last Summer Wine where it's set as Robin Hood's birthday, and he wears a green suit and stuff like that. Yeah, Billy Hardcastle was a really great character, and he kind of disappeared without a letter or a note or nothing. He just kind of disappeared, and it would have, instead of having Russ Abbott as like Hobbo in the final few series, I feel like they could have easily had Billy Hardcastle in that role as their kind of group leader in a way. And you could say that Billy Hardcastle being this kind of Robin Hood-esque character could have led to, you know, Robin Hood and his merry men, because I guess you could call Last Summer Wine trios a bit like that, I guess. So he made his first appearance in 1999, made his last appearance in 2006. So a good few years, and he made his first appearance in 1999, playing this kind of Robin Hood-esque character of Billy Hardcastle. So we get to know him from that, and then he pops up the following year in 2000 for the 2000 Christmas special, New Year's Day special. So we get to see him again, and then in 2001 he kind of becomes like, 2001 he kind of becomes like more of a main character. So he gets focused in more of the trio. So you get a great trio that I like. Well, it's a quartet basically, where you have, you know, Clegg, Truly, Tom, and then you have Billy, and I kind of like that. And then they kind of phase out Tom from the trio, and then they bring in Alvin, and that kind of group together I really like as well. But I also do like the three of them together, you know, like Billy and Clegg and Truly. I feel like that three work together as well, because I like that kind of dynamic they've got, where they kind of take the mick out of him. They call him a long weirdo and stuff like that. Because Billy Hardcastle is quite tall, he's quite lanky, and they like to bully him about that. Which, I mean, to be fair, Truly can't really say much. He's quite tall, so like they can't really say much. They can't really say much about that, really, which is mad. But I kind of like that dynamic, the three of them together as well. And then you also have Tom with Waldo, you know, the little dog hand puppet. I kind of like that dynamic. Yeah, that kind of era of early mid 2000s. I really like, and I feel like someone could have maybe stopped there, but it continued because it did. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I kind of like that dynamic of Billy Hardcastle. And something else I've got to mention about Billy Hardcastle is that he's got a really strong accent. His northern accent's a lot more stronger than everyone else in the cast, if I'm completely honest. It's more distinctive as well. And he always moans about, you know, his wife, how she like annoys him, and then obviously is the wife's sister, and that's kind of big thing. And we never see his wife or the wife's sister on the TV show at all. And completely mad. And he moves next door to Truly and that kind of stuff like that. But we don't really see his house that much. There's a few frames in, I think, something like series 23 or something, where we see his house, or maybe it's series 22, but where we see his house and stuff like that. But yeah, we don't get to see him that much. There's also that really great episode where they pretend to be waxworks. They're all like that, and Billy Hardcastle's got his bow, I believe, and stuff like that. Just so stupid. Really great. And then there's the episode where they try and get more people to join their merry men. Billy Hardcastle's like been employing merry men to be with him, and then there's this woman who turns up, and she wants to be part of the merry men, and she's like a bit more stronger than Billy and stuff like that. Yeah, just brilliant stuff. Because Billy Hardcastle as a character came in at the right point. You needed something to replace Compo, but you need someone to be completely different, which I feel like was a good move to have someone like Billy. played by Keith Clifford. I don't know whether I mentioned that, but Keith Clifford's known for loads of stuff. He's been in like Coronation Street and loads of other programs. You don't really see him much on TV these days. But let me know if you've seen him in anything recently, because I haven't. But yeah, really talented actor. The way he like comedic timing, everything really great. And also do like in the episodes where it has Bobby Ball. I feel like he bounces off Bobby Ball pretty well. And then obviously him with Entwistle and Alvin, you're like thinking, oh, the future trio. Wouldn't that be so great if that had happened in the future? Them three together. Because they were kind of teasing it, because Truly and Clegg were kind of getting a bit older and like they weren't doing as much stuff, and those three were kind of being more put front and centre. And then Billy leaves in 2006. We still don't really know what happened to Billy. I don't know. I guess Billy Hardcastle wanted to, Keith Clifford wanted to leave and pursue other projects, I assume, but I don't really know, really. But yeah, so he kind of went his own way, and we were left with just, and then Russ Abbott came in and played Hobbo and that kind of trio, and a lot of people are fans of that trio. I mean, they're not my favourite, but I do like them. I think they're pretty good. But yeah, I feel like Billy as a character had so much potential for the later series, particularly the last three series 30, 31, and 32. Like, yeah, he could have been there. But yeah, there's also a great episode where he gets trying to employ more merry men, and he tries to get Tom and Spider as part of his merry men and things like that. And I do like it how in his debut episode, The Secret Scar of Nora Batty, that he like dresses up as in the full Robin Hood like costume, which I find pretty cool. I'm going to put a photo on stream as well of him dressed up in the full Robin Hood costume, because I feel like it was really cool and everything designed like that as well. But he does constantly go on about it. He even says that he reckons Robin Hood's real name was Billy Hardcastle, like his name as well. So that's pretty interesting. And he also says that he thinks that Robin Hood was not from Nottingham, he was from Yorkshire. And there is, if you look back at like historical things, there is stuff that people think that Robin Hood was actually from Yorkshire rather than Nottingham. So I don't know. Rather interesting, isn't it? But yeah, Billy though, as a character on the whole, I mean, he kind of fits the Last of Summer Wine vibe. You know what I mean? He could have been a good third man, like if you'd considered him as part of the third man in a way. I know that he wasn't, because technically he kind of filled in the compo role, but just very different. But he gave the show something fresh and something upbeat that I felt like the show needed at that time, because one minute you lost compo, Billow, and sadly passed away, and you had characters coming in like Tom and Billy to kind of freshen up the show, because the fact that one of your leading actors, your leading stars, had died, you need to try and make the show slightly different so it can explore. And I feel like Billy Hardcastle really did that. So I felt like that was a good move to bring in Billy. I would love to meet Keith Clifford, because he's very talented in like the way that he portrays this kind of Robin Hood-esque character. But going back to all the merry men kind of stuff, I do like to see like Billy Hardcastle was the leader and all of the merry men are kind of with him and all that. But something else that I've got to say is that when you put Billy, Alvin, Entwistle, Truly, and Clegg together, you get a group of like 5 characters that would previously been like 3. So I feel like that's really good, and the teamwork dynamic. It's kind of Robin Hood and his merry men, like that. That's pretty good. Solid completely. Something else I'm going to go back to, his accent. His accent is a lot stronger than any of the previous actors, but I feel like that's because the actor who played Billy Hardcastle, I believe he's actually from the north, Keith Clifford, so it makes kind of sense that his accent would be stronger, because like Clegg and Truly, they're both actually from London, which means they're more south, more southern, so that kind of makes more sense really. And I believe Alvin's actually from the south as well. Yes, it's very odd, isn't it? When you look back on it. So yeah, but his accent is a lot stronger than a lot of the other things. But I feel like that's really cool because it kind of brings more dynamic and kind of fleshes out all the different kind of characteristics. And you probably know that he's got like brown hair, and he's got he sometimes wears tights. He sometimes wears tights to kind of complete the Robin Hood kind of look. And he also wears a classic green jumper, Rain Mac thingy. And then the occasional time he wears the famous Robin Hood hat, with the little red feather in it. And they also make these comparisons that he looks like Errol Flynn and stuff like that. And I feel like that was a really great move to do, because they kind of like joke about, oh, you look like Errol Flynn's spit. He looks a spit image of him. He doesn't look that much like him. I mean, a little bit, but not that much. But yeah, so I kind of like that dynamic, and it was a shame that Billy Hardcastle was left too soon. Really, like it would have been more interesting if he had stayed on a bit longer. But yeah, going back to the previous stuff, like in those episodes where he's with like Lenny and stuff like that, in The Swan Man and Ilkley, which is an amazing episode. I recommend you watch that. Completely great. Bobby Paul, legend. Yeah, so I really do enjoy him in those roles, and he does go by this thing called the Hawk, where he's got this giant stick and stuff like that, and just so he kind of gives me like there's certain bits of his character where you can see where other characteristics of previous characters have come through, like Foggy in certain ways. Previous kind of characters have been fleshed out, and their areas of characteristics been moved to different characters, and I feel like that was really good doing that with Billy particularly, because I feel like Keith Clifford, I'm not going to keep on saying this, but he did a good job, you know what I mean? To fill in that gap, I felt like really worked. And I feel like those series, would be very different without Billy. But I do like the fact that he does try and recruit merry men, which I find really interesting. And he goes on about, his maid Marian, and there's like, his wife is not really the stereotypical maid Marian that he was kind of looking for. And she's not a big fan of his Robin Hood kind of stuff, which is kind of a bit weird, isn't it? But yeah, I do like all of that kind of history stuff, to do with Robin Hood, A lot of people think Robin Hood's fake, like he was just a made-up fairy tale, or maybe he is actually real, and because Billy Hardcastle believes that he's a direct descendant of Robin Hood. Yeah, I mean, Robin Hood. So that's kind of what I've got to say on Billy Hardcastle. Like, I think he's an amazing character, and I really would love to have seen him again playing Billy Hardcastle in the future episodes, or maybe even the last ever episode. It would have been good if he had rocked up, or like, because in his first appearance he does famously shoot an arrow and it goes on Truly's hat, and there's a great photo. I'll put this on the screen where it goes right through his hat, and he's like shocked, and it's just amazing, really. And those episodes like Birthday of Robin Hood and things like that, and where he's famously wearing all the green stuff. There's even stuff where he wears camouflage in certain episodes. That's my Rodney jacket from Only Fools and Horses there. But yeah, he famously wears camouflage as well in certain episodes, and also stuff where like he falls in lakes and things. They try to reflect kind of Compo on it, but in a slightly different way, which is sometimes people compare him as like a Compo character, but I don't really see him that way because he's slightly different. It kind of differs in them. But he definitely brought on, a different vibe to the show and helped, rejuvenate it going forward. And without Keith Clifford and Tom Owen, I don't feel like it would, have been the same if those two hadn't popped up. And I feel like when they popped up, it really helped Last of the Summer Wine to go forward into the next few years. And that's kind of all I've got to say, really. But Billy Hardcastle, forever salute you, mate. A great character, and just an amazing character, really. All the Robin Hood stuff, that gave him so much characteristics. They're kind of like how he was the head of the trio, but then he kind of wasn't at the same time. And it would have been great to see him and Entwistle and Alvin in the later series together, rather than, Russ Abbott, but I feel like Russ Abbott still did an amazing job anyway. But yeah, I just kind of feels like he was maybe, supposed to have been that third man character, but I don't really know. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Goodbye, Robin Hood.